Right, lights. So just like the title says, what's your excuse? Me, I've got a ton of my own, I can tell you that. I can tell you that every single person is dealing with some type of an excuse. And I'd love to know how many excuses run through my head every single day that I don't really recognize, that I subconsciously think about, that just happen. I would love to know that number. We're all dealing with some type of an excuse. For me, for a person that loves video, who loves shooting video, editing video, just everything about it, I haven't shot a video over a month. And I look back and I think about all the reasons why I decided to stop cold turkey. And there are a number of reasons why that I decided that I was no longer gonna make any videos, at least for the time being. So number one, with everything going on in the world, with COVID, with Black Lives Matter, with racism, with all the natural disasters and the election, just felt my message to the world was just so irrelevant and unimportant. And I really believe that I just needed to maybe take some time off and maybe wait till all the world gets back to normal to where I could feel comfortable about saying what I wanted to say on video. And man, I look back and I'm like, why is that even important? Number two, my life changed after the pandemic hit, mostly because all of a sudden my two kids were stuck at home. I've got to feed them, I've got to change them, I've got to clean them, I've got to be their teacher, I've got to be their therapist, I've got to be everything to these children. And really all of the time that I had available prior to all of this was really sucked up with being more attentive to them. And that was excuse number two. The third excuse that I gave myself was that when the pandemic hit, I really thought my business was going to go to the dumps. I didn't know what to expect. I really thought the world was going to be turned upside down. But really what happened was it was a huge blessing in disguise, because really everybody that I was working with decided that now was the best time to either sell their house or buy a house, because they just needed more space. They needed an office, they needed a gym, they needed square footage, they needed a pool. I mean, they just needed more than what they had. And now that there was downtime, there was no school, there was just people working from home, it ended up being a really good situation. While other people were struggling, I was really blessed with opportunity. And so through the blessing in disguise, I found a little time to be able to produce content that I wanted to. And that was excuse number three. All of us are dealing with something along those lines. There's something that we should be doing, that we know that is going to be good for us, that we just don't end up doing. And all of us have excuses for why we're not doing those things. In our industry, there's something that goes, what got you here will not get you there. And there's some truth to that. But if you don't do the things that got you here, you start to digress and you actually don't reach that other level that we all want to get to, and we start to go the opposite direction. And that's where I kind of am right now. And so I think about all these excuses and I'm like, how am I wired? What type of person am I? I'm really the type of individual to look at a problem and really kind of break it into pieces. Like, what are some bite pieces that I can break that whole thing up into and accomplish slowly, one by one by one. And by the end of it, I should be able to reach my goal. The first excuse that I had was my voice wasn't important. No, every voice is important. That's at all the seminars, at all the webinars, all the things that I talk about. I preach that your voice is the most important. Your opinion matters. There are people out there that may be dealing with all of the things that are happening in the world and want to have a little bit of light. And sometimes your little voice is going to hit them in a way that makes sense to them, and it's going to help them get through something. And that's part of the reason why your voice is so important, is because it can help others. Number two, I have no time because I have all of my time dedicated to these children. And that's not the case. They aren't up every single time of the day. They're sleeping. And so can I find some time to maybe wake up a couple of hours earlier or a couple of hours later after they go to sleep? And I most certainly can. I can be able to carve out that time to be able to devote to my craft and to the things that is most important to me. And number three, I am so busy that I cannot shoot any more videos. It's just a pile of, you know what I mean? It's not important. It's because that saying that what got you here won't get you there is so wildly important in this situation, because what got me here was my effort, was my ability to make content and do the things that I really love doing. And I love making videos. I love editing videos. And that's been my kind of haven away from all the stresses of the world. And so there's got to be a little bit of you time. There's There's got to be a little bit of sanity throughout all this craziness that you need to obtain for yourselves and for myself. And so I need to be able to carve out time. So I need to look at my schedule and say, what are the things that I can delegate? What are some of the things that I may not necessarily be good at that I'm trying to accomplish all by myself that I need to give to somebody else to do? Last week, we went to the virtual Tom Ferry Summit. Now, this is an event that we go to physically every single year. Sometimes it's in Vegas. Most recently, it's in Anaheim. But this year, for the first time, it was online. And I kind of really don't know what to expect from these events. I didn't know what to expect from a virtual event because it was pretty much on Zoom. And really, and I'm speaking for all of us here, I'm pretty sure we're all zoomed out. But this event was an eye-opener. They talked about one thing that resonated with me, and they talked about being the artisan real estate agent. Now, what does that mean? I wrote it down. The artisan agent, the choice to be extraordinary, not just big, intentionally smaller, constrained by your design, focused on serving fewer clients while delivering an exceptional experience every time. Masterful at telling the story on social, creating a buzzworthy brand. The money is good. The client experience is over the top, and that's where the satisfaction comes from. Now, that is a mouthful. That is a lot to take in. So how do I accomplish being that artisan agent? How do I deliver exceptional service while trying to grow? That's kind of contradictory, isn't it? No, it's not. For so long, I've been the type of individual that if I don't do it, then it doesn't get done correctly. And I believe that for the longest time. And don't get me wrong, that's okay. If you feel like you're an individual that can get everything done and you know it's going to get done correctly, just know that there's limitations to that. There's a threshold for you because it's just physically impossible for you to be everywhere. And so how do I grow while at the same time delivering that artisan experience? There's so many facets to our business that you can't be the best at everything. So what I need to figure out is what can I be the best at so I can better designate my time for the things that are most important and find the right people to really kind of just take care of the rest. And don't get me wrong, I have an amazing team right now, but there's a lot that I handle. And part of the reason why I've been successful is because I've been so involved in every single facet of my business. But in order to grow, in order to deliver that exceptional experience that's better for the client, I've really got to find the right people to take care of the things that I'm not good at. And then you also all of a sudden think about, well,
I don't have time to hire those people. I don't have the money to, or the resources, or...
Those are just excuses. We got to stop ourselves in the tracks and say, that's an excuse. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to deal with that. I got to figure out a way to get past that. I got to be better. That's the things that I'm working on right now. And I felt that it was important to kind of just get that off my chest because now that's an unlock. What are you struggling with? What are you working on? What are the things that you're telling yourself, the limitations that you have, the reasons why you shouldn't do things that you know that's going to be beneficial to you? Maybe for you, maybe for your loved ones. Maybe it's just a mindset shift. Maybe it's just being about tactical and understanding that there are certain things that you just need to adjust. Maybe it's about surrounding yourself with the right people or hiring the right people to be a part of you. It's all a work in progress. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect, certainly. But I don't think I want to be.